The championship is done. It is time for some supercar fun. Drop the clutch. Neck and neck the run towards turn one, and there is nothing in it. Feeney's got the inside line. Mostert argues the case on the outside and surfs over the top of the gravel and stays down the inside. This is going to be a full-blown argument all the way to turn four, and Mostert comes out the other side in P1.
Absolutely superb performance across the curb down there at turn two, and he was able to regain control of the car across the rocks and the dirt, come back out onto the road, and was sliding its way out of turn three to stay in front of Brock Feeney. Great job, Chaz Mostert.
Covers himself nicely at turn 7, and already Brock is trying to find a way down the inside. The squeeze is on, and they hunt backwards and forwards across the road on the run with cold tyres to turn 8. Mostert, Feeney, Brown, Randall. Remember how treacherous this part of the racetrack is before everything's up to temperate pressure. Brown having a look on his teammate here. There is nothing under brakes into 9.
How committed was Mostert turning into turn 8 just then on the opening lap? Man, he made 2 or 3 car lengths on Brock Feeney. When he lobbed it at the corner, there was no margin on the exit. He did a great job.
He had to, because both the bulls behind were hungry. They know how valuable it is to pounce in the early laps and try and capitalise while they can. Randall into 4th position, Brodie Kostecki into 5th. Then it's Wood up 1 spot from De Pasquale. Congestion at the back of the pack, nose to tail contact there. Fullwood rubbing the rear bumper of Cam Hill's car. Mostert starts the first of the flying laps, and he got a curb strike. So did Kostecki. Oh, we've got trouble, unfortunately, for Matty Payne at 11. He's chucked it straight into the barrier and is going absolutely nowhere for the moment, unless he can grab and grind his way into reverse, which he's trying to do. But sometimes you've got to rocket forward in order to be able to engage reverse. Now he's done it, but is it trapped? Race control will hesitate until they know whether or not he's clear.
It's in there now.
Okay, mate, just got to wait to get towed down now.
He's had a go.
Safety car boards and flags.
So this is probably now the Matt Payne scenario. He's on the outside. I think there's someone to his left. I think, yes, there is.
James Courtney,
And
I
that's
think it was.
straight in.
Yeah.
James Courtney on the left-hand side. It's Percat,
Oh, actually, no, it's
yeah.
Percat, yeah. Car number 10. Nowhere to go there, unfortunately, for Matt. And he tried to get in reverse. You could hear it grinding away as he was trying to select it. Lucky he didn't get rear-ended in the process here. And unfortunately, that's triggered the safety car.
So maybe this is what's happened as all the bonnet pins are gone, and now the bonnet's gone. So it was really deep into those tyres, and as you can see now, it's got the disappearing bonnet trick going. Supercars have approved it. They're happy for it to run without a bonnet.
That's good news. So it gives him the opportunity to potentially be classified, and there's no real safety risk around that, just aerodynamically ugly. And you're missing a bit of signage. We've gone green again. Away we go. Mostert in control. He's got a good jump there. In fact, he's pretty much put the margin back on Brock that he had when that all happened in the first instance.
Nice job, Chaz Mostert, but a very good braking performance at turn 4. So Feeney really, he charged down there, and he's looking really racy. When these tire pressures are down, Feeney, because they won't come up for a little while yet, Feeney has got real pace, especially in those 90-degree corners. We saw it yesterday.
Watch him under brakes at 9. He's stalking him close enough. If he diagonals it to the inside of the road under brakes, he'll try and find a way to get at least halfway down the side. But Mostert was so quick again through 8. He put margin on him and put enough buffer in there to save himself from the threat that I was talking about. But that's what would have happened. Imagine if he'd stayed with him through 8. That would have been strong enough under brakes, that car of Brock's, to be able to have an assault down there. He is right with him. Turn 11, this is where we saw Matt Payne, unfortunately, in the wall.
Now, he's good here too, Feeney. Not quite close enough. There's about a car length behind at turn 13. He's right there now. In fact, he's giving it a little rub on the way out of turn 14. And again, I think turn 4 might be his go, because the spot that he looked really strong was the braking area. He's got a good run this time. Chaz will have to cover him. He does. He covers, and he's had 2 bites now.
He's under threat, big time.
Yep. Yeah.
And the Bulls yesterday were very, very strong over the top of the curb, and now Brown's in here as well. He might even displace his own teammates side by side through the right-hander at 6. How does this end? No space. And in the end, Will had to get out of the throttle, and he's now vulnerable to Brodie, who gets him down the inside, turns him. So a big moment at turn 7. And it puts him at the very back of the pack. So 2 by 2 there ultimately resulted in tears, and that's taken a bit of the front-running pressure off.
Yeah, I didn't think it was on the inside at all.
And just cast your mind back to yesterday. Oh, and now another turnaround. Wood's gone, and Cam Waters has made wheel-to-wheel contact. He had the whole car up in the air. I didn't see who actually got Ryan Wood.
Yeah, we saw him,
Anton.
mate, we saw him. All right, head down, buddy, head down.
So a lively start to proceedings. So Ryan Wood with Adam Austin, the engineer on the radio in the background, trouble down there at turn 9. So the restart with a congested field is creating a bit of chaos out there at the moment. So Brown is all the way at the back now after that moment, and the pressure's come off momentarily for Chaz Mostert. And look at the margin now back to Thomas Randall in 3rd. Then Di Pasquale, then Kostecki, then Davison, then Percat, Reynolds, Cooper Murray, and have a go at Frosty down the inside here. Oh, got more contact. He's tagged Tim Slade, and fortunately did not make contact with that outside wall. And that's bad news for Slade. He was running in a pretty solid spot. He's already got some bumper damage going there too.
Yeah, you're in the back.
Crazy start.
Mad restart, isn't it? Absolutely mad.
Based on what we saw earlier in the weekend, we were forecasting this kind of activity in yesterday's race, and it didn't fully develop, but we've got it in spades today. Now again, Feeney's starting to just creep in closer here. Meantime, in race control, they're stacking up the things that they need to unpack and investigate. And down the inside, Cooper Murray on Cam Waters, and that's Murray straight into the tyres.
So that, mate, get it going, get it going.
Now, is he going to be able to get out of there? Or, yes. New livery on both the Erebus cars this weekend. He had a lively day yesterday. So that was Waters and Cooper Murray contact down there at turn 9. It is all going on in Adelaide this afternoon. Mostert's got a half-second lead. The stewards are frantically writing notes. It's going to take a while to unpack pictures and data, and for the driving standards advisor Craig Baird to understand who's done what to who and are there any invoices to pay for that. Here's what happened. So Brodie tries to sneak up the inside, and contact. It was actually very light contact with the back of the car.
It's caused by that. So he made contact with the wall on the left-hand side, which slowed him up. And then Brodie fired down the inside of turn 7. It always looks worse for the inside driver when the other driver turns down, because you're on the brake still and you try. This is on board now with Will. So he's trying to close that gap down, and then bang. But it looks bad for Brodie, but it always does, because you try to retard the car, slow the car, stay on the brake, and not make contact. So who gets Wood? It's the lead Shell car, isn't it? So that's Anton, I think you were right.
Yeah.
And that's on board with Cam Waters when he did the big 2-wheel action.
And lost a bunch of spots in the process. So they're investigating, obviously, 187 up there at turn 7. Whoa, baby. So have a look at the shark bite in the left front corner of the Shell car. And then this one was wild as well. You can't get to a dirtier side of the road than that for Mark Winterbottom. And then there's, I think, contact with Tim Slade. I'll have a look at it again to see whether that's verified. Was there, in fact, contact? Yes, there was. Round he goes. So a bit for them to work on and understand here to decide whether or not there's any price to pay for these incidents.
Now this will be Cooper Murray, and behind was Cam Waters. Now, I didn't really understand again whether that was wheel-to-wheel contact or actually body contact that fired it in. We're going to have a look. Here we go. Thank you. So he is down the inside. Cooper turns in and then grabs a bucket load of lock.
Yeah,
it's really awkward, wasn't it? Because he had a heap of opposite lock, but then it followed the front wheels and went straight ahead.
Now, yesterday, this worked well for Brock.
Totally.
5 seconds of fuel. They got an undercut. Do they do the same? Randall in.
on the board. I've got slightly forward.
Drama with the tyre. There was a drama with that tyre there.
Was it? I didn't see it.
So I reckon they were just going to fuel to the tyre, and if the tyre was quick, it would have been the underfill, basically the policy they used yesterday. But I thought on the left-hand side there was an issue.
A bit of a look here at Chaz. And you reckon he's hustling?
He's trying really hard, isn't he?
That was just a feeler gauge margin down the side. And everywhere you look at him, this is what he's doing. He is running every last millimetre. That's exit turn 11. That trapped Matt Payne earlier in the day in the little rub that he had with Nick Percat. And so this is a repeat cycle mission for him. I think he's actually enjoying it. He's very obviously in touch with the car, and as evidenced by the slide into turn 1. Get a bit of that into you.
Yeah.
So just, that's arriving down there at north of 200 Ks. Fifth down to fourth gear, throw it through the first chicane. Make sure you get the trajectory of the slide right, and make sure that you don't take too much turn 2 curbing and get a penalty as a result of it. And in the meantime, we've got both Jones and Allen have come in for their compulsory stop there first.
So think about where we've seen him apply that level of commitment. Was the way into turn 8, where he was just able to grab massive margin on Feeney early. We've seen him bump the fence there a couple of times at turn 11. We've seen him bump the fence a couple of times out of turn 6. We've seen him rub the thing down the wall coming out of 7, and he's coming into the pit now. So maximum commitment by Mostert in this first stint of the race. And new tyres for the rear of this car, not the loaded side.
Kostecki's in too, and he's got a penalty. Nicely on the marks. Fuel coupling in. Do all 4 wheels and tyres go on cleanly? Yes is the answer, and it's a very short fill to try and keep that track position. And in the background, you might get a glimpse of Kostecki. Here comes the Red Bull entry. And they've got him out and kept that position. Now, he'll lose a little bit of that margin while those tyres come up. And so what you're looking at there at the moment will probably halve at least over the next half lap. But that was important. So that was very cautiously timed and judiciously considered to make sure that they got him out and maintain track position. Now we've got a battle on our hands. Now, what will happen is that margin will crush somewhat between Mostert and Feeney, and he'll be right with him. And then because it's younger tyres on Chaz's car, he'll probably eke away for a little while. But we know from observing in that first tyre stint that Feeney was very, very strong with the trail braking and through those lower speed corners. So be curious to see what these cars trend like in the latter part of the tyre life. And Brock is on him. He wants this, doesn't he? He's searching high and low for fresh air at the moment into the braking area at 9.
And Mostert wasn't able to be as committed because those tyres are not up to pressure and temperature on the rear. Remember, we saw the brand new tyre go on the back. So for turn 8, he couldn't get that margin that he was previously experiencing, and that's why he was under more pressure there at turn 9 in the braking area. He's really on him, Feeney.
This margin's just opening up a little bit in the lead at the moment. 2.9 seconds now, Mark Mostert over Feeney. And again, Mostert on the last lap, the quickest car. This little battle's fascinating. Davison, Randall, Percat, line astern here. They are 3rd, 4th and 5th. There's the leading margin. Oh, and he just gave that tyre barrier a rub then, Brock Feeney, as he tries to see whether he can stay in touch. Now, at 3 seconds as the margin, that's pretty much exactly what the fuel difference is between them. So what you are seeing isn't the net reality, but they've still got to get in and out of the pit lane and affect their pit stop. It's a proper smoke screen at the back of the Kai Allen car, and I think Aaron Love's now going to clear him down the inside here. And maybe even Macaulay Jones. 3.6 seconds is the gap now. Mostert over Feeney, and they're going to pit Kai Allen. Because if they roll the dice here for too long, you may end up popping a tyre. And that's going to cost a lot. Oh, down the inside and contact. Murray almost gets it done, but not quite. displacing Jones in the process, and they go hammering down pit straight, and the Pizza Hut car just prevailing on the run to one. Meantime, Love and Jones are at it on the run to one. The Red Arc entry, South Australian-based company, and they've got pressure at the moment from Cooper Murray. So these three absolutely locked in combat as Macca has a think about going down the inside, but it's very dirty on that side of the road. So Cooper sweeps back to the Grippier racing line, seeing whether or not he can capitalise.
I don't want to be part of this deal here.
Oh, and he tried to get it up the inside. It sort of worked, and it's not completed yet. But now you've got Cooper up the inside on Aaron Love, and he actually clears him into turn 7. Sweaty palms that manoeuvre. In comes Mostert and Feeney. Very critical stop for both. Let's soak it up, Jack.
Yeah, guys, let's watch this last pit stop of Chaz Mostert. Green rear tyres ready to go on that car, and they've got the fuel hose connected well. So far looking good on the left side. Those new tyres going on the back, and we'll wait now for the fuel. Little slow on the right rear, but we wait for fuel now. New drink bottle going in for Chaz as well, and he can see Feeney in the pits as well.
There was a wheel nut drama there, I think, for Brock. We'll have a look at that when we can. Mostert drops and goes. It's going to be so close. It's going to be so close, and there is contact. Is that an unsafe release? So he immediately drops to the right. That was tight, and that was always brewing. Deeper Squally in the middle of this is God. What a way to finish our championship season with a full-blown nail-biter. 29 laps remain. Contact between the leaders and extreme pressure on both teams.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of review going on there because there was a wheel nut issue on Brock Feeney's car, but there was also the contact between the cars coming out of the pit. So our officials will be looking at all of the regulations and all of the vision to determine whether there was an infringement and whether that was outside the rules of the game.
We've been talking for the last 20 laps about how tight that was going to be, that it was down to the tenths of a second, and that moment for car number 88 is under investigation, confirmed by the stewards in the room. Let's go back downstairs.
Guys, I can definitely confirm the left rear wheel nut parted company and it went across the fast lane. I know that because it nearly ran my foot over, and then heavy contact as Brock tried to merge into the lane. So you'll see here when it comes off, it'll zing. There it goes.
Yeah, I saw it myself, and that's why I called it. Thanks for that, Garth Tander. And then when he's launched straight into the side
flag to car 17
of Chaz Mostert, and that'll be deemed an unsafe release, but he's redressed it immediately. Now, I don't know whether or not, this is where this stuff gets so hard to work out, and we'll let the stewards and the DSA do their job. So does that, in their view, neutralise what happened, or are they going to further intervene? And that'll be the question that's being wrestled with there at the moment. But this is an unbelievable nail-biter. What a way to finish our championship season. And Anton gets in the game here, chucks it up and over the rocks and out the other side. And that was exactly as predicted, that we were going to have such a tight scenario. Ryan Walkinshaw and Bruce Stewart, Carl Foe standing there in the WAU garage, hoping that they're able to capitalise here. This bloke in the front has squeezed the living daylights out of the high-speed and medium-speed performance of the car.
Race control, attention all teams. The stewards have imposed a 15-second time penalty to car 88 for an unsafe release.
Brock Feeney gets the penalty, an unsafe release into the side of car number 25, and so the redress is not taken into consideration there.
Yeah, just as we watch this battle continue, Neil, let's just pay homage to great strategy by Walkinshaw, right? I just called the option for Feeney to do an undercut. The only way to beat that, look at this. This is for me. Oh,
he's going to give him one. Sorry, Lucko, keep going, mate.
No, good as gold. I reckon this is a little bit of Feeney. I reckon he's been briefed. Pretend this is next year. You've got to win the race at all costs. And that's, I reckon, what's going on here. But so Feeney didn't get a chance with the undercut because Mostert, they didn't need to stop for fuel then. They stopped early, took away the option for Feeney to undercut, and a quick calculation would tell you, boys, if your pit lane's a couple down the pit lane for where Feeney was, if you come in and got to put the same amount of fuel time in, that you're going to be in the fast lane first. Yeah. Strategically, very, very well done.
What a day. Great intensity between those leading teams and drivers as we go on board here with Will Brown. who I reckon when we get to the control line, if he's not interrupted here, is about to get the fastest lap of the race. And it is now a 1 minute 20.1. And he's moved up a spot into position number 7. Now, when the other two stop, he's 27 seconds from the lead. When both Kostecki and Waters stop, Will Brown, remarkably enough, is going to be a factor somewhere in the top 5.
Yeah, guys, I just had a quick chat to Jamie Whincup and asked him whether they've told Brock about that 15-second time penalty. He says, yes, we definitely have. I said, are you sure? He said, yes. So unless he's got a good poker face, they've definitely told him.
Yeah, I was wondering whether or not, in fact, you know, don't necessarily need to tell him. His job is to just go and hustle. But he has been informed. But he's going to try and make a point here. And he's making it big at the moment as he tries to sneak down the inside. And he is right under the bumper of Chaz Mostert. It's not impossible that these two don't get a bit of rubbing going here in all this, because it's vigorous out there at the moment, to the extent that now Mostert has to cover into turn 9 because he knows he's vulnerable down there. This is kind of repeat for what we saw in the early tyre stint, where later in the stint, Brock's tyres are just that little bit better, it would seem, or the balance perhaps just that little bit better. Strengths and weaknesses with both cars at the moment. The medium high-speed stuff looks pretty reasonable for Mostert, but the trail braking is strong for Brock. Right there, you can see the evidence of it as he puts his signature on the right rear corner.
But I'd be saying to Mostert now, just let him go, because he needs to save the rear tyres on that car in case it's a safety car, because Brown will be super fast if there was a safety car. I know he's 18 seconds adrift, but he doesn't need to race Brock now.
Bit of pride at stake for both of these guys at the moment. And that'll be part of this, not wanting to let him by. The downside, if either of them are not careful, is you could end up with a little catastrophe. And there it is, on cue. There's your catastrophe.
Oh, my
that
God.
was brewing for a long, long time.
Get going, mate, get going.
So there's that damage and over and out.
That's
because
crazy.
that's exactly what I was just talking about, that you could end up with a disaster on your hands. And so this is going to brew up big. Is there residual damage on car number 25? And what are the implications of that?
All right, mate, 7.5 seconds back to Brown.
They've handed this thing to Will Brown. Oh, my God.
Unbelievable scenes in Adelaide. I was just speculating on exactly that point. I barely got to the end of the sentence and it came to fruition. So damage on the right rear corner of this car. Is that going to threaten the life of the tyre?
Yeah, no, it's gone. It's over. The right-hand rear, there's right-hand rear damage.
Just give me what you can, mate. Give me what you can.
But why wouldn't he have just let him go? Oh, we were talking about it beforehand.
Look at the damage on the thing. It's an extraordinary scenario. So that is going to be clearly investigated and confirmed on our timing and scoring. This, ironically, could hand a victory to the champion, to Will Brown. And what a scenario that would be. To have plunged all the way to the bottom of the field after being tagged by his old teammate Brodie Kostecki, going all the way down the order, pointing in the wrong direction. Mark was openly questioning why you would bother to race. I responded with, there'll be pride in this, and the risk is if they play too hard, there could be contact. Bang, it happened with an exclamation. Let's have a look and understand more about all this again. What a moment here in Adelaide to wind up our championship. Down the inside he goes, bang, right rear corner, turns him, whack, into the Repco banner. And here's the angle from another viewpoint. Gets him in the right rear corner, and Brock will be done for that.
Yep, he will certainly be done for that.
Big contact. And now, what sort of performance have we got left in car number 25? Does it have anything? They'll do everything to resist coming in. 15 laps remain. It's hardly a small journey. And the onboard very telling with just how filthy and hard that impact was. Here it is again.
Have a listen.
Gone. 14 laps remaining. Race control looking at it. Disbelief in the garage. Garth?
I just confirmed with Anthony McDonald, team manager for Walkinshaw Andretti United, that Chaz acknowledged that radio message from Sam Scafidi. He knew that Brock Feeney had a 15-second time penalty.
Yeah, but he was wasn't in the mood to yield, and Brock wasn't in the mood to take any notice of the 15-second penalty. They're playing for keeps out there. We talk it up week in and week out. These guys have got the eyes on.
Race
They're
control,
masked.
attention all teams. The stewards have imposed a 15-second time penalty to car 88 for a driving infringement.
Brock Feeney penalised. He's now got 30 seconds, and it blots the copybook this weekend. It's going to put him down in somewhere in the mid-teens when all that gets resolved at the end of it, as Jamie Whincup contemplates that. Bit of hard racing going on out there this afternoon. Is this thing going to survive? Now, what's critical here is the margin between Mostert and Brown is 1.7 seconds. The sort of speed that Will's been showing, he's a big chance to claw him.
Just served him up. So Cam Waters has just fired into Anton down in the braking area at turn 9. Gee, this is a mad race, an absolutely crazy race.
Last day of school, the boys have gone crazy on the red cordial this afternoon. And it is on wherever you look. It's on again, and around he goes. Actually straightening back up in the process. It's the wacky races this afternoon, and there's a lot of Dick Dastardleys out there.
Oh, God.
Unbelievable.
It's a smash-up derby. It's unbelievable. The amount of cars that have been turned around today.
My radio is melting. Character references being issued free of charge left, right and centre. My goodness. Will's all over him. And every chance to be able to make a move. But Mostert is within his rights to try and just close that off the best he can. Now, that didn't work well for him earlier in the day.
No.
Now, he's vulnerable here because it was a slow exit out of turn 7. He might even end up being passed before he gets to 8, and that's exactly what's going to happen here, and he's flown the flag. So that moves him down a spot.
Oh, he's coming back.
Richard Harris is happy about that.
He turned back on him.
He is coming back down the inside. He might actually argue the case. It'll be 3 wide. These boys are going to end up with nuts and bolts everywhere if this continues. And Will Davison ends up actually dropping all those spots to be at the end of the queue now. Mostert gets back. He is not giving up without a proper fight to the end. Randall's now all over him. Next time through, there's 3.2 kilometres to go. They are playing hardball out there at the moment. Davison tries to get down the inside of Randall. It could well be 3 wide when they get down here. Gets out of the slipstream, hunting high and low.
And Percat's only a couple of car lengths behind also. So watch this. Where does Randall put a move on? He's got to be able to dive and do it with authority. He's not close enough under brakes there. How was Chaz Mostert turning back on the inside and coming off turn 8 to get back down the inside of Davison? That is the move of the day.
Beautiful work.
With a damaged car.
And he might have saved himself position on the podium, but we saw things didn't go well on the exit of turn 7. Look at the queue forming behind him at the moment. He's got an angry pack of drivers in behind who are trying to steal the lollies from him at the moment. He's got a little bit of margin with half a lap remaining. Now, Brock Feeney is going to cross the line as the leading car, but not the winner of the race. He survived turn 8 with a twisted car at the moment. Mostert covers on the run to 9. Here comes Will Davison down the inside. Has to duck out of it in the end to not turn Randall around. That's forming a queue. Take a ticket, everybody. Turn 11 on the left-hander. Unbelievable margin here.
It's 26 seconds from Feeney back. If they keep it up, Feeney actually gets the spot.
Unbelievable. They're all max attack at the moment. This is the battle to the end. What a day in Adelaide.
Last lap.
Everything.
Here we go. Nothing left in this one now. Feeney's got to cross the line. He's in the mix, but you've got to do the math to see how it all works out. Up the inside, is it Kostecki? I think he got there. No, he didn't. He thought about it. Extraordinary scenes in Adelaide. James Golding is in this queue as well, Mark. It's a roll call. There's Mostert, Randall, Davison, Percat, Heimgartner, Kostecki and Golding. All could play a role in this in the last half lap. Mostert's got one more chance. Will Brown, unbelievably, is going to win this motor race. Race 24 is going to fall to the champion. And you would not have thought that'd be possible earlier in the day. They're rubbing, racing, shoving, pushing all the way through the final corners for the Miners at the moment. The crowd appreciates the comeback for the young champion from Toowoomba. He's put on a big display today. Take a bow, Will Brown. You are the race winner of our final race of the year, and that is an extraordinary comeback. What a drive. What a drive. And Chaz Mostert, I did my hat. The fact that that thing got dragged across the line, it was twisted and bent like a rotten old shopping trolley, and he got there in the end. Will Brown delivers on the promise. He told us he was going to light it up, and that is what he's doing. Let's enjoy it. That's a big drive. I'm actually speechless. That's an extraordinary comeback today, isn't it? To be able to do that. I mean, it underscores how quick the thing is and how well he's driving it, but that's quite surreal to be able to climb back through the field. And there was signs of that pretty early on. He started to make ground very quickly in the comeback, and he would not have thought that that'd be possible.
But you also wouldn't have said that it was going to be part of a story that had a 30-second penalty applied to Brock Feeney at the same time.
No. So even trying to work out who was in Pertec victory lane was, you needed the abacus for that one at one stage there, because as the queue was forming behind Chaz, that could have ended up with all sorts of different scenarios. So well done, Thomas Randall. He was strong here last year. He's been strong all weekend, and he's been rewarded there with a podium as they all make their way into Pertec victory lane. As Wilder does his stuff. Great moment for him, and he's a deserving young champion.
Trophy in there somewhere. There's the tyres being blown off it. How do you like your Dunlops now?
Well done. Dunlop soft tyres and valve springs going cheap. Please apply within.
Genuine interest only.
Only one owner. Go Will. Soak it up. Enjoy. What a great moment.
And the end of the day, it's not only that he won it, but he won it by 9 seconds as well. Absolutely walked away from them when you work in the penalty for Brock Feeney, which drops him down to 7th. Not a bad comeback for Brodie Kostecki as well, with 15 seconds added to his time. Nick Percat gets a top 5 at home. Cam Waters 10th. Now that should be enough to see him nicely in the championship. And in a day where Penrite Racing Team were hoping to get some teams points, they finished last and second last. The final score looks like this. They finish 1 and 2. Chaz Mostert 3rd today, 3rd for the series. Thomas Randall drove himself to 5th by getting to the podium. So that fight for 5th between Randall, Payne and Golding, Percat all sorted out today, with Thomas Randall getting himself into the podium positions. Now teams championship, quite keen to see how this worked out. We know the top 2 and 3, but yes, Shell V-Power Racing, by just, what's that, 15 points, getting the jump over Penrite. They've been hunting for that all year long, and look how tight that is all the way back down to Matt Stone. 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th, nothing in it there from an epic drive from the kid from Toowoomba. collected the trophy in style today. Absolutely ripped the Dunlops off it too, celebrating in style. Iconic images, iconic celebration, and maybe even the best of the Adelaide 500 races that we've seen, celebrating 25 years of history, quarter of a century. Is that the best one we've had? Certainly the most epic and entertaining.